Welcome everyone to Quality Management, and today's class is about quality in service. As we have talked about quality in manufacturing, the quality in service is a slightly different in terms of the definition, in terms of the dimensions or the factors that affect that quality there in the service sectors. In the service, definitely we don't have something tangible or product to give as a physical product to give to the customer, but we have a transaction, what we call activity, between the customer and the provider, or the seller and the buyer. So the definition of the customer, the quality in service, we can define as any primary or complementary. So this is either one, سواء كانت أساسية أو يعني ثانوية, activity that does not directly produce a physical product. So not directly give you a product at the end, and the non-goods part of the transaction between the buyer and the seller. So this is what we refer about the service, and the quality in the service is quite different than in manufacturing. If we go briefly about the comparison between them, the output factor for the manufacturing is tangible, definitely like a car or a device or something like that. But in the service system, you usually get a service completed, a transaction completed. In the customer interaction between the manufacturing and the service, in the manufacturing usually is limited. You don't have a direct interaction with the provider like the manufacturer or the factory. But in the service, fairly high, you are having customer interaction. In the labor content is a fairly low in the manufacturing system, most likely the relying on the machines and the equipments, but in the service definitely is high, depending on the people and the human working on the system. Input and output uniformity means that how it's ثبات أو إنه يكون موحد مدخلات ومخرجات السيستم. In the manufacturing is high, in the service is low. In the productivity measure, usually it's easy to measure the productivity in manufacturing because of the machines and the rates, some of how it's standards and easily to calculate. But in the service sector is a bit difficult due to the human factor over there. The quality improvement also in the manufacturing is easy to improve since it's easy to measure. If you pay attention to this one, as we remember in the quality, if you manage it or you measure it, you can manage it. If you can manage it, you can improve it. And since the measurements in the service sector is difficult, usually the quality improvement is difficult, as well as also the improvement and is going to be difficult as well. For also more about the comparison between the two sectors, in the manufacturing system, focus on technology and production. In the service, you focus on the human resources. In the management, commitment and the leadership, both of them they need. There is no service or manufacturing sector that can rely on just self-steering. You need a management and leadership to continue work on these systems correctly. Elimination of product defects is important in the manufacturing, whereas in the service sector, you focus on the customer feedback more than the defects. In the quality measurement, in the manufacturing, the quality measurement is done by statistical techniques. In the service sector, usually the quality measurement through customer satisfaction. This is the index for your quality at that time. Please, we will make all the questions at the end. The 5 service quality dimension, we refer to them as the ServQual. The ServQual, these are how we distinguish the service compared to the manufacturing in terms of the quality dimensions. Here we have the tangibles, the assurance, responsiveness, service reliability, and empathy. We will go on each one of them and define it and give a small or more details about them. And then we will go over how we can measure the service quality in organization. So let's start with the first dimension, the tangibility. Tangibility is the appearance of physical facility, equipment, personnel, and communication materials. So imagine if you are going to STC or mobile or any telecom company, or you are going to any service provider. The place you enter definitely would reflect on how you will expect to see the quality of the service provided by that place. Definitely the cleanness and the physical appearance of the place is going to impact on the customer. Customers expect to have a clean, professional facility, especially if you are promising to provide premium or luxury experience. You claim that we are excellent in doing this and that in terms of the service, and you enter a place that is not clean enough or doesn't look professional. This will give you the impression that how the service will be provided by that place. So definitely the tangibility here is different than the manufacturing. In the manufacturing, we used to have the tangibility in terms of the product we are receiving from the manufacturing. But here we are talking about the tangibility as the place, the facility, the appearance of the location, the materials that they are using in terms of the if there is a technology interaction with the customer in providing the service. So this is what you expect from the dimension of the tangibility. And you can apply this to several examples. Like if you go to bank, this is one of the most common service sector that we interact with. And if you enter a bank and imagine if that bank doesn't look clean and the employee doesn't look professional, it will impact on how you expect the level of the service will be provided. The reliability is the second dimension we will cover today, which is the ability to perform the promised service dependently and accurately. Means that you promise to do providing the service in finance or in money transactions, then as you promise to do so, then this is what the customer expects in the reliability dimension. So doing what you are saying you're doing, please lower the hand and all the questions we will have at the end, please. تفضل عبد العزيز تفضل.
لا خلاص يا دكتور آخر شيء.
تفضل.
بالغلط معلش يا دكتور خلاص في الأخير. شكرا.
طيب. Customer want to count on the business they buy from. That is the heart of the dimension. Meaning that this is the core of the business. The reliability actually considered to be the core of all the quality dimensions, because imagine if you are looking for insurance, let's say car insurance, and you went to that company, but then for God forbid, يعني لا سمح الله, an accident happened, and then they didn't provide you with the coverage that they have promised to you. So this is the reliability part. This is the core business. I sign up with you for that insurance to provide me the coverage when there is incident happens. So if this is doesn't provided by the company or the organization or that party, uh, that will affect the dimension of the reliability. So you can tell how this dimension is very important compared to maybe the previous one, the tangibility. Now let's move on to the third one, the responsiveness. The responsiveness is the willingness to help customers and promote service. Let's say that when you are interacting with the organization or the company, how they reply to your questions, how they resolve your issues when you complain. So the response اللي هو الاستجابة. يعني if we go in Arabic the definition الاستجابة. فواضح كمسمى استجابتهم للعميل when there is a complaint, there is a problem, how they respond to you. This is the third dimension of the quality. The fourth one is the assurance. The assurance is the knowledge and courtesy of employees and their ability to convey trust and confidence. I give you a very good example in this one here. When your program is accredited by ABIT or any authentic organization, this gives you an assurance of that service will be provided from this organization. Customer, they expect when they have the service is coming from a trusted agency. That's why when you see it's approved by the government or they have the government paperwork provided السجل التجاري اللي هي الرخص إذا كان مطعم اللي هي الخاصة بالأمانة والبلديات. This gives you an at the end more of assurance about the service. Also the customer اللي هو staff, the employee, has to be also known about what he's providing to give you that trust. Imagine if you are asking him questions and he doesn't know about details about the service he's providing to you. So this will definitely cause a lack of trust between you and the organization that providing the service. So the assurance significance to the customers definitely, and how many options can make based on the trust. Here is an example giving here. When you run e-commerce store, for example, in the case customer having this pop-up ads. لو دخلت كده موقع وبدأت تظهر لك كده الادز هذه اللي هي زي البوب سكرينز, you may suspicious or not feel confident to purchase and put all your card or credit card information in that website. لأنه you are not expecting, I'm not talking about the advertising from the website itself, like they have sales or something like that. This is something else. This is marketing and it's usually happen. But I'm talking about these pop ads that is not related to the store, coming from a third party or external websites. Here you will doubt the trust of that website to put your information and how securely they are managing your information. So this is what we talk about when we talk about the assurance. The last one is the fifth one is the empathy. The empathy is the caring, individual or as a firm or a company. If you are dealing one-to-one or company business to business, B2B, the caring is very, very, very important factor. We call it hosting sometimes. If you go to place, how they host you, how they welcome you, the smile makes different. Making good conversation with the customer, engaging with his needs, trying to provide him all what the details or the information he needs in addition to the service he's requesting. Sometimes the customer has more than just a service request. How you provide and solve all his issues together. So this is definitely will make impact, and that's why, if you recall, when we talked about the comparison between the manufacturing and the service, here, sometimes these factors are difficult to improve and measure because it's some kind of unmeasurable. يعني the smile, if there is a feedback and survey, it could help to measure that, but you cannot monitor it as when you monitor a machine and the performance of the machine and the rate of the production in the manufacturing in this industry. Also, the improvement, it needs in that dimension, the empathy, it needs a training. Definitely the training here is very important. That's why you go sometimes to stores or to shops or to any service provider. Due to lack of training, it will impact definitely on the customer experience with that place. Okay, now we move on to the service quality model. These are the dimensions, the 5 dimensions: reliability, assurance, tangibility, empathy, responsiveness. The service expectation and the service performance. Here is what we call the gap, or how we measure what is promised or what should be provided compared to the actual, and how its impact to the customer satisfaction. So the received service quality is at the end between the expectation and the performance. الأداء والتوقعات أو promised from the organization. بعد كده هنا بتكون اللي وصلت للعميل، وصلت من بين الأداء وبين التوقعات. So here we can measure the differences between them and how it's impacting to the customer satisfaction. The 5 service quality dimensions are used to measure customer expectation versus how the service was actually delivered. Yani, so what he's expecting to have and compared to what he got at the end. Measuring this dimension over the time can help the business to understand the customer expectation, perception, area for improvement, also to track your progress, and also it can help in the benchmark. Like in the example we will cover today, when we did this research, we compared between different sectors, between different providers, and this can help you to see where you are standing on compared to the competitors in terms of these dimensions. Okay, so how we collect or how we start, generate, or build the survey in the quality service. Starting with one type of questions that is commonly you see it after you complete a service with the agent or the customer representative اللي هو ممثل الخدمة. لما تتصل في نهاية الاتصال يقول لك بعد ما يقفل أتركك مع تقييم. And this is especially if you have request a service on the phone or يعني they call you over the phone to resolve a problem that you raised. And this type of question called agent-specific survey questions. Agent-specific survey question. يعني هي موجهة فقط للممثل الخدمة أو الموظف اللي بيشتغل على الخدمة في العملاء. Asking your customers about their interactions with these agents ensures you know whether your team is meeting your company's commitments to customers or no. So you promise that you are providing a certain service, but the customer, when they interact with your staff and your employee, they don't get what is promised by the organization. And that was due to the individual acting, not the organization. So if I want to track that service provided through my agents, I have to provide questions specifically designed only to the agent only, not to the organization. For example, you see the question based on your recent experience or recent interaction regarding to this issue. How satisfied or you dissatisfied with the service provided by the agent or by the team member or by the customer representative. فهنا let's switch now. لو كان عندي السؤال اللي زي هذا السؤال يكون منعكس فقط على الشخص اللي تواصل معك في المكالمة الأخيرة، فبيكون السؤال مرتبط به. هنا مترك، وحدة قياس. هذه وحدة القياس مرتبطة بأداء ال individuals in your organization. You have staff, a big team in the call center. How do I know each one of them resolve the problem as we promised to do to the customers? فأنا بالنسبة لي هي مكالمة محادثة بتصير بينهم، أنا ما بعرف فيها، فبيكون عندي الأسئلة هذه اللي بتكون individually agent based question، فهذه بتكون موجهة لقياس أداء الشخص. طبعا هي مرتبطة بالتايم واللاين اللي بينسر is call، فبتكون tracked this answer entry. You will put 1 to 5, which is 1 is low and 5 is high or satisfied, not satisfied. This will be go directly to the agent profile، فحتروح الانبوت اللي انت حتحطه مباشرة على ممثل الخدمة اللي اتكلم معك. Okay, so the quality department can track the individual performance through these type of questions. Asking here more examples. How knowledgeable, unknowledgeable would you say the service team member? الcourtesy حقت team member. هنا حتى the other dimension like the empathy, you can ask questions individually here. كيف كان welcoming? How he was welcoming, how he was knowledgeable about your case, and how he was collaborating. All these questions, we call it the agent-specific survey questions. As we say, this is to track the individual performance in the organization. Okay? Now let's move on to another type of questions. We use it in the survey, the channel-specific survey question. What do we mean by the channel-specific survey? الchannel هي قنوات للخدمة, and usually it's automated. Like the FAQ. The FAQ sometimes it's interactive. يعني إيش interactive? You go, you type your question, بعدين بيطلع لك suggested list of questions similar to yours, and then provide you with some answers and ask you at the end, was that helpful? Was that solve your problem? If yes, then you will press yes and that's all. If no, then it will direct you to the interaction with the agent to provide you with a better or more details in resolving your issue. Sometimes the FAQ, it's a rigid questions. You go there and they have a list of FAQs and this is there. You just go and try to read the similar question to yours and you find the answer. This is what we mean by the channel. قناة لخدمات العملاء. ما بتكون مباشر الانتراكشن فيها مع موظف أو human. Actually, this one, now we're in 2023. In my opinion, I believe this is a very potential and good research and good development for a new business to start build up systems that generate FAQ based on open artificial intelligence. Now the open AI is developing rapidly, and is growing also smartly and becomes more smart, I mean. So the channel specific survey questions, or the channel that provide the customer services, it can move on to a high different level where can provide the answers and the help to the customers in way better than what we are experiencing this time now. Here you have a questions, as we say, at the end, after you finish the experience with the channel, and provide, was this your first interaction with the FAQ or with this system, the automated system? How would you use that channel based on your experience? يعني هل تستخدمها ممكن مرة أخرى؟ were you able to locate what you are looking for؟ فهو بيساعدك حتى إنه هل أنت فعلا وجدت الحل للمشكلة حقتك؟ whether the channel have you used in the past؟ هل لك استخدامات قبل كده لchannels أخرى كانت even maybe in other organizations. Here the questions not about the individual agents, not about the organization, about the channel. And sometimes this channel can be a third party agreement. فأنا عشان كده بقول لكم هذه فرصة قد تكون potential to entering a market with a new business startup. ما حد اشتغل على الموضوع هذا حتى الآن. يعني كفكرة رائدة ممكن تكون إنه يكون عندك مؤسسة أو شركة خاصة بعمل الميديم عفوا، اللي هو الشانل هذه اللي هي بتكون بين العميل وبتكون ما بين الأورجنايزيشن، بحيث إنها تكون مبنية على الذكاء الاصطناعي في الإجابة على الأسئلة. هذه ممكن تنقل عملية خدمات العملاء بشكل كبير، يعني أكبر أو أفضل وأدق. We move on to the other type of questions in the survey that we use in the customer service questionnaire, the CES, or the customer effort score. Survey questions, these the type of questions is measured by asking customers who have recently requested assistance with an issue, how easy your business made solving it. For example, you have raised an issue and it's been resolved by the organization. Here, the questions are not going to be for the individual, it's for the company itself, for the organization. And you see now the difference where in the first type of questions, we were targeting the performance of that individual. But here, the overall organization, how it was satisfying to the customer. And usually you put the scale from 1 to 7 or 1 to 10, or it depends on the score of the range you are providing, whether you are disagree or you are strongly agree. And you calculate the average by taking the total sum of the responses and dividing them on the total number of survey respondents. For example, you want to find how many people have disagree, how many people they put disagree. I believe that you do that type of surveys when you are exiting the university, when you're graduating, and that will be to the whole experience with the university. But in every course, at the end of the course, before you get your score released, you have to do another survey, and that one more of agent-based, because that focused on the provider, which is the instructor who gave you that course. But in the exit survey, you are more to the program, to the university, and this is what we mean here by the customer effort score. Sometimes this happens, as we said, when you raise an issue, and then you will have a survey after all the problem is resolved and the case closed. Then they will give you a survey that contain one of the questions about how you are satisfied or agree or disagree with the resolving issue that they provide or the solution they provided. Typically, you want to see the score between a 5 to 6 if you are using a scale 1 to 7, because a score of 4 or low indicate that there is problem need to be addressed by the customer. On the scale, for example, of very easy to very difficult, how was your interaction with the company? What made your experience like that? Were you able to accomplish your goal? This question, what made your experience like that? Usually, this is a branched questions we call. First, you have overall questions survey. Then you will be having branched questions that to measure what was the most impact to your experience. For example, you said it was very easy or it was very difficult. But in the second, third questions, you will provide questions can track where was the dependent factor to that one, or what was the cause to the overall satisfaction to the company. Similar to that one, but slightly different, is the customer satisfaction score, CSAT. Is another customer loyalty metric that you can use to measure how satisfied the customer in the overall experience, whether he's satisfied or no. Here, if you think what is the difference here, this is more of the experience, the overall. Here, if there is an issue was raised or assistance needed. So this is particularly in certain cases or incidents happen, you raise an issue, you request for assistance, like when you request for the academic advisor assistance or consultation. But that one is the overall experience. So it's just a phrasing matter, and also sometimes even the scale, sometimes they have changed it here. They provide it with a percentage at the end of the overall respondents, like how satisfied were you with the company, how often do you use the product or the service. You see here is more general, but here your experience, your interaction, you see it's certain to a specific event happened, okay? But here is the overall experience, and it can comes with the multiple visit, not every visit you provide this survey. So usually this survey comes regardless of the visit you have come to the organization. The percentage, basically you are dividing the number of responded to the total, and then you find the percentage of the satisfied and not satisfied. Here you can see that it's strongly agree and agree. So there is an action you are measuring. My problem was resolved, for example, easily. You are strongly agree or disagree. But here is about your satisfaction, because sometimes even after your problem is resolved and you agree it's resolved, you still have maybe some comments or some other factors impact on your satisfaction. Maybe they resolve it, but it took too long, or the process was complicated a little bit. So there you agree that is resolved, but here you may are not satisfied very well with the overall experience with the organization. Here we move on to another type of questions based on the customer experience, is the Net Promoter Score, NPS. And in here, we measure the customer perception based on a very, very specific, very simple and direct question. And usually this is the short questions the company or the organization give you from your experience, the overall, you rate us from 1 to 10. So you just have a very direct question, regardless now you have an experience with an issue you raised or a help you need, or you have conducted a transaction. This is one just question to give the overall from 1 to 10. Usually they have a quite large scale here, and you try to measure in these type of questions. You try to have these questions in every other surveys you're providing. Why? Because this is the easiest question can be filled by all the customers and give the overall experience. Even if he visit the branch and he's leaving, sometimes they leave you with a very text message easily. Thank you for visiting us. Just give us your feedback from 1 to 10, how you are satisfied. He didn't come to the details that you had an issue, you have conducted the service there, how was in details the speed of the service, the welcoming of the employee. No, they are not going to all these details. They want just a very simple question in overall, and this overall question is good, and it's going to be more informative if you have built it with a comprehensive survey, because there you can measure which factor impacted more to the customer. But why they have this easy one? Because usually consider that customers are busy. Not every time customers fill surveys. And these are the easiest way to just give from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Before you hang up, before you exit, before you even in your phone, you press the number and you send it back. So this is the easiest way you grab the largest number of responses from the customers. And here you can convert these results into indices, مؤشرات. If you have a scale or the majority between 9 to 10, then you consider the customer is promoter. يعني الcustomer هنا likely will refer your business to others. If it's the majority 7 to 8, this is passive. يعني في نقص هنا عندنا في السيرفيس. But if it's 6 or below, التراكتور هذه بتكون يعني غالبا بالعكس، هذا حيكون مسيء لسمعة الاورجنايزيشن، وحيكون negatively impact في الفيدباك للأذرز. This is how you calculate the NPS percentage based on the customers' feedback, and it will help you to how you will promote your business and your repetition, and how also you save your repetition from damaging if the customers they provide you with less than 6, the majority of the customers. طيب في عندنا some key points when you build the questionnaires. Keep your survey short, because as we said, most of the people are not really having the time to fill the surveys. So as much you can. It's most effective to have quantitative questions like from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, and followed by the optional ended question, which means that you give the box and it's optional. Maybe the customer wants to write something or his experience in more details, so you have to give him that room to provide. As you do when you put your evaluation at the end of the course, you have feedback and you can write your feedback there. Avoid asking unnecessary questions. Keep your survey focus to the business goal that you want to measure. Act on your information in a structured, customer-centric way. معناها أخذت result. طيب, so after you get the result, then what? Then you have to act. لازم تشتغل على تطوير مجال. شوف النقاط الcustomers اللي بي complain and you react on that one. Learning how to make customer service survey begins with knowing the right questions to ask. Match the questions you ask to the business objective you're looking to achieve. Building the survey takes most of the time. Conducting the survey, it's just a matter of a link. You send it to everyone and people start going to fill it. The analysis is going to be automated now with all these software. You just copy the data, you do some regression analysis, you do some statistical analysis, and you get all these values in a matter of seconds. But planning the survey and writing up the questions are the one need the most effort from you and your team when you are going to measure the customer feedback. We will stop here and we will take questions and then we will resume.